Welcome back everybody, Johnny G, Naked Racer Motor Co. Today we're here to talk about the Indian 2015 Dark Horse and have a look at it. Just a beautiful machine. It's in the matte black flat paint and just a totally blacked out bike. If you like that sort of thing, this is the bike for you. Black engine, black wheels, black exhaust. Everything, there's hardly any chrome at all. You've just got a little guard strut, some levers, and pretty much the rest of the bike is blacked out. But before we go too far into this bike, I was going to mention Indian's history, which is quite amazing. So Indian started in 1897, a couple of guys, Oscar Hedstrom and George Hendy, who owned Hendy Manufacturing Company. They started making bicycles, and by 1901, Oscar Hedstrom, the engineer, had made the first Indian motorcycle, a single cylinder. It's called a Camelback. They're a beautiful bike, and right off the bat, it was a world beater. It was chain drive. It could go up a hill without a slipping belt. It had plenty of power, and they were just super reliable right from the get-go. And so they sold many, many bikes and really led the world, 2 years before Harley Davidson. And their product, was just world class immediately. By 1907, Indian had made a V-twin engine, 660cc, in the same Camelback configuration, which was a diamond frame. And it had a tank at the back on the rear fender, which was why it got the name a Camelback. And anyway, these bikes were amazing. They were like a bicycle. They were the right size. They weren't too big, and everybody could ride them. They were very simple to operate. And so they made bikes. By the teens, by 15, Indian were making like 90,000 bikes in 3 years or something. They made 90,000 bikes. It's like incredible numbers. And so the history of Indian continues right through the war. They were very avid supporters of the American war effort, so they made bikes in World War I. They closed their factory down to production for civilian bikes, only made military bikes. It cost them dearly. They came out of World War II and resumed business and struggled along until they got to the Second World War, and they closed production for civilians again. All their dealers suffered greatly because they had no stock to sell. So, it was a bit of a fatal mistake. But by 1953, they had to wrap it up, and they sold out to Brockhouse, and Brockhouse Engineering continued on making the Indian Papoose, which was like a parachute motorcycle, a tiny little thing with 10-inch wheels. And they finished those, I think, in 1954 or somewhere there. And then it sold out. They sold out to Floyd Clymer. Clymer made his own version of what he thought an Indian should be. Again, not a very successful operation. It changed hands many times, but the most importantly, in 99, Gilroy Indian had them. They made them in Gilroy, California. They reinvented the brand. They bought it off the people that were just making T-shirts and selling posters, basically. They weren't making any motorcycles. So they first came back and made a motorcycle in 1999. It was called the Gilroy Indian. And by 2003, they were bust again. A couple of years later, they sold to Jellican Company, which was like a investment company. And they made the Kings Mountain Indian, which was pretty much just a version of the Gilroy, but with a higher quality finish. And eventually, in 2011, they sold the brand to Polaris, who were looking to buy Indian, and they got it. And by 2013, they'd come out with the new model, which is basically, this is a 15, but it's exactly the same as a 13, same configuration. Alloy frame, monoshock, twin disc, well, triple disc. This is a blacked out version, as I mentioned, but this is your solo bike. So this is the bike that you want to go cruising on your own. You've got the 1811cc V-twin, 6-speed transmission, belt drive, monoshock, just a very good cruising bike. It's got cruise control, they've got ABS and you know, all the modern creature comforts. But if you want to go up, the next model, you know, is vintage, which we'll talk about in another video. They got leather bags and a pillion seat and a windscreen, and you know, more suited to cruising. This is your urban cruiser. So this particular bike here, we may as well talk about it. It is for sale here at Naked Racer Motor Co. And if you're looking for this kind of bike, you better get your ass down here and grab hold of it before it's gone. It was purchased new by the current owner. It's got 24,000 kilometres on the clock. Serviced at Naked Racer from day one. It's full service history, books, everything comes with it. And it's just a well-maintained bike. The guy was a fastidious owner. He's kept it indoors and looked after it very well. And if you want a bike that's just, there's nothing to talk about, it's just perfect, come down and have a look for yourself. Okay, well, let's get out on the road on this thing and see how it goes, and I'll talk about it when we're riding. See you there. Well, here we are on the 2015 Dark Horse, and great sitting position, very comfortable. You can move your feet around on the footboards up and down, so you can ride like this. You can stick them out here like all the Harley guys, you know. But there's plenty of room to be comfortable. The seat's unbelievable. And the handlebars, well, for me, I'd have them up a little higher, but they allow for all that sort of adjustment. Stopping is really good. They've got 300mm disc rotors on the front and a 300 on the back. They've got 6 piston calipers on the 2 of them on the front and a 2 piston on the back. So plenty of stopping power to pull up this baby. They weigh just over 350 kilograms, so it's a lump of bike, but it's made of steel. It's just not plastic. It's the real deal. And I use an aluminium frame which keeps the weight down and keeps it nice and rigid.